Hello, America. It's Jason Ewing here. The PJ Daily Show hasn't been so daily lately, has it? I'm sorry I have missed my time with you. I'm sorry. Let me get myself back in the picture. Hello, there I am again. Just kind of been very, very busy, and I'm sure you understand, but I'd like to keep some updates with you, kind of let you know I'm thinking about everybody who may be associated with these videos. I hope and pray that people associated with Zion Church, my friends associated with Facebook, friends that are associated with just any of my comings and goings will be blessed by this and encouraged. And I want to ask you if you would pass this word along about anybody who'd like to have a short video of a little sermonette or a little word of encouragement. I remember the whole point of the PJ Daily Show is a little bit of God, a little bit of encouragement, and a little bit of laughter, a little bit of fun. And so I wanted to ask if you would pass that word along. I don't have a whole heck of a lot to say other than to tell you and remind you that I've been thinking about God's grace. I've been thinking about concepts of what motivates God to do anything. If you remember a few weeks ago, we read out of the Psalms that God does everything that He pleases, as He pleases. The world and everything that is in it belongs to God. Consequently, if it belongs to Him, He kind of gets to do whatever He wants to with it. You and I have all kinds of possessions that have been given to us by God. But you know what? Sometimes we choose, when we go to the silverware drawer, and I know we're talking about inanimate objects, and so don't, just start getting crazy with me there. But we talk about inanimate objects sometimes, and when you go to the silverware drawer, why do you pick one fork over the other? Sometimes you have a favorite fork. I have a favorite coffee cup. And it's nothing to say that or whatever it is, but we just choose these certain things, and we choose certain items or objects because they belong to us, and we have the freedom to do that. In many ways, God is like that as well. And I know while we are not inanimate objects like a cup or a fork or anything like that, we belong to God. The world belongs to God, and He does with it as He pleases. And the thing about God's grace is that whenever He shows favor, or I think whenever He shows, and I'm sorry my eye is itching, but I'm going to keep fighting through this because I don't want to go back and do this again. When God shows favor toward us, it's unmerited favor. And when I say unmerited favor, I'm talking about something that we do not achieve. God moves toward us and ministers toward us, and reacts toward us and is involved with our lives, not based on what we do, but based on what God desires to do, based on what He wills to do. It's His world. The same reason you picked and you choose to put the TV and use the TV in a certain way, or the same way somebody will use a video camera in a certain way. We are His possession, basically. And so what I want you to understand is when God is involved in our lives intricately, intimately, sometimes in favorable ways, sometimes in non-favorable ways, a lot of times it's what I call God's grace, God's unmerited action toward us. I think that, and rightfully so, there's a consistent positive demeanor toward grace that says it's God's love, it's God's unmerited favor. But you know what? I think there's some painful, unmerited, painful events that God brings into our lives that's unmerited. And He does that. Why? Because He does it for His glory. Remember, everything that God does is for His glory. And if through your pain and if through my pain and through your difficulty and my difficulty, God receives more glory through that, He's going to do that. And I know we don't want to hear that, but the bottom line is what I want you to get to start to embrace this whole concept of grace and seeing how God is constantly involved with humanity. Does God react to our sin? Does God react to our disobedience? Absolutely, and I don't want to deny that. but I want you to start to wrap your mind and head around the whole concept of God's grace. And sometimes God's grace, I think, is a favorable reaction, a favorable experience. And sometimes I think God's reaction or God's behavior toward us in His grace is an unfavorable reaction. I'll share some biblical insight in future editions here of the PJ Daily Show as to some unfavorable experiences of God's grace where things weren't unmerited. First person that comes to mind is Job. And if you look at the very first part of that, God says, He says, you know what? All these I was incited to do, all these things I did to Job, I was incited to do, and there was no good reason for it, except for God was glorified in that. And how He was glorified in it, we'll get to that bottom line a little bit later. But I want you to just sit back and relax on some things and just know that God is in charge, and God is looking over your life, and He is interested in your life. And when the bad things come in your way and you have no way to explain it, it doesn't mean God has abandoned you. I think you might discover, hopefully later on down the road, that it is an experience of God's painful grace. And when you experience that painful grace, it is for His glory, but it could also be a way to make you better. And the way to make you better is to enjoy God more and more each day. I love you. God bless you. And I hope we'll get to see each other a little bit more frequently. Sometimes I'll have a 2 or 3 day split. But you have an excellent, excellent day. And an excellent, excellent evening. And an excellent, excellent... Do you tired of hearing me say... I'm just sorry. Bye-bye.